the application process. And
this meeting is being recorded.
I'm sorry about the echo back on that. So let me tell you why we are having this particular session, and the idea that being AMRUT 2.0 has launched this wonderful challenge and initiative to identify innovators within the water space and focused on water. And this particular challenge, we found that a lot of queries had come in regarding how to go about the application process. And this webinar hopes to identify and address these queries raised by all of you. Before we go into the details, I would like to quickly introduce the panelists who are with us today. From our team, we have our senior professor, Dr. Marni. She is a professor at the Urban Governance area. We have a center director, Professor Srinivas Chari. Along with it, we have Shayan Mandal, who is my colleague and a senior research associate. We are from the ASCII team, and we've been joined by ministry officials from MoHUA. I'm happy to introduce Reema ma'am, Reema Jain. She is the deputy director at MoHUA. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. And so she has been involved in many national level schemes and programs, and we're happy to have you today with us. Along with her, we have Mr. Amit Singh. He is a partner at PwC, and he has had multiple domain experience, including ICT, Smart City, citizen engagement, and has held multiple projects with government domain as well. So thank you, both of you, for joining us and agreeing to take the innovators through the process. I would like to take this opportunity to ask Chari sir to please set the context for today's meeting.
Yeah, so I won't take much time. The whole purpose is to have as many bright minds, as many innovators, as many startups across the country to participate in this very unique challenge. I can say that very few countries in the world have come up with a challenge which is focusing that to national government led. You see a lot of challenges coming from the corporate world, from foundations. But this is a very unique opportunity where the ministry is organizing this challenge to promote innovations in the water and sanitation space, particularly focusing on the used water, focusing on AMRUT scheme. And the whole purpose of today's interaction is to have more and more people to participate, number one. Number two, any queries, any difficulties, anything that you need which requires clarification, Reema ji has kindly agreed, Mr. Amit has kindly agreed to sort out this. And as committed to the ministry also, ASCII has set up a help desk, helpline to clarify. Then if you want any support, some of you have not registered with DPIP, would be very happy to facilitate the registration process. So we are here to assist you so that more and more participation takes place in this very unique challenge. I can see that very few countries, as I said, probably India is one of the leading thought leaders in this. Maybe a few countries like Singapore used to do it in the past. So with this few words of introduction, I would say that I would request Reema ji to set the context, and between ma'am, you and Amit, please take it forward. And all the participants, do not hesitate. Both of them are nice people. They are bureaucrats, or Reema ji is a bureaucrat, but they're not real bureaucrats. They are willing to support in giving any clarifications. Feel free to reach out to us. Chat box is open. Please feel free to raise your queries, and then we would be happy. They would be happy to respond. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, very good evening to all of the participants. Professor Chari has said the context very rightly, that this is the purpose, that we should be able to address all the queries of startups. But we can take a minute and understand why ministry felt the need to pitch pilot and scale solutions provided by the startups in the water sector. So we realize that there are small innovations around us which are not seeing the light of the day. So by providing such a platform, such innovations will get an impetus which will not only help startups but also community at large in saving water and water resources in a much efficient manner. So this is the whole purpose of the startup challenge, and ministry will not only provide 20 lakh piece of support to 100 final selected startups, but most importantly, we would love to provide continuous support to the startup in terms of collaboration with cities, mentoring from angel investors, then interface with incubators and industry partners. So we will be helping startups in their whole journey. So I think I can hand over the stage to my colleague Amit. He will explain the whole application process, and he will help you to facilitate the registration on DPIIT platform as well. So Amit, over to you.
Amit sir, you can start with the Q&A. There is a question already. How do you
Yeah.
startup from the challenge point of view, this challenge point of view? You can begin from the basics. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. So just to answer this specific question, that how do we qualify a startup? So any startup which is registered with DPIIT, which is not 10 years old and with certain kind of a turnover, qualifies as a startup. So all this criteria is something, Rupali, which is available to you when you go to the challenge website, which is co-hosted onto the platform of MyGov. So you can go there and all these things are very clearly mentioned over there. So while I say this, let me add one more thing into it. Then I'll come to the question from Aditi Agarwal. So one of the important aspects which one needs to understand over here is that while this is an opportunity for us to partner with the innovative minds across the country, we are also looking at how and what ways we can scale up very quickly. That is why we are not looking at a startup which is at an ideation stage, but we are looking at startups which are at a growth stage. That means they have already established credentials, they have already undertaken the pilot, and the product is already in some kind of a production stage. Whether you're talking about a physical product or a virtual product, or you are talking about a solution, whatever it may be, we are looking at startups which are at a growth stage. For us, and this is something at this stage we are looking at, and this is not the only end to it. This is round one where we are looking at 100 startups. In round two, we will again look at certain set of startups, and in round three, there will be more startups that will be taken up. So this is a Government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs understood the importance of engaging with the startup, and this is the first mission in the country. We are proud to say that this is the first mission in the country which has gone ahead and included that as part of the cabinet note, in which it has been very clearly laid out that startups will be part of this, and startups will be engaged as part of the entire program to roll out the objectives of the mission and achieve the last mile connectivity which is required as part of the mission. And when I say last mile connectivity in two folds. One, we are talking about a dedicated water connection and a dedicated sewer connection. Now, in order to achieve this, if you look at it from the entire value chain perspective, whether you are looking at ensuring the used water, cleaning of that, treating of that, making it available for the use in the industry, or whether it is making it available for the use of household domestic usage, or whether you're talking about drinking water, how and what ways effectively drinking water can be made available. If you're looking at something like an innovative business model of how self-help groups can be included, is there an innovative model of how self-help groups can be included? So all these are innovation around which we want to engage startups, and very clearly these areas, these have been listed down as part of the startup program in the innovation challenge website. You can look at it. I will very quickly want to go on to Aditi Agarwal's question, where she has said, what about innovation that are being executed by the parent organization that does not qualify as a startup? So very clearly we are looking at if there is a parent organization which has got an innovative solution, then there is a separate subsection in the mission overall. So one is where we are talking about engaging with the startups. There is a second aspect to the program, which is not part of this innovation challenge, but which is separate, where we are talking about if there is an organization which has got an innovative technology which does not qualify as a startup, but is established organization. They can partner with the city, go ahead and implement that solution. And once that solution is able to achieve certain success and is able to achieve certain kind of KPIs, then there is a provision in the program, in AMRUT program, where up to 50 lakh kind of a funding can be done for that program after approval from the city and the state. So very clearly there is a provision under which this can be. So for that you can read AMRUT guidelines, which are available on the ministry website, in which how and what ways technological innovation other than startup can be integrated as part of the overall program. So I hope, Aditi, that answers your question. Now moving to the next question that has come from Kanan. We are a startup specializing on water distribution and are on scale-up phase. Is there any certification similar to RAS for domestic drinking water applicable? No, we are not. So this is something which is a good suggestion. We can definitely look at it. We would definitely want our programs to be RAS certified. Very clearly, this is something, if you think that this is something which is an innovative thing which can be implemented at a scale as part of the startup program, and you would want to run this as a certification agency, whether this is something which would be required and it enhances the overall water quality, if that is your idea, please submit as part and participate as part of the startup program. We would be more than happy to take it up. Moving to the next part, we have a question from, I hope I'm going at a right pace and everyone is able to understand. Devika, San, Malini ma'am, if you want me to slow down, just let me know, because I tend to go very fast at times.
No, we can feel the excitement, Mr. Amit. Please go on.
Okay. So very clearly, next we go to the question related to the Living Green Spark. This is a question related to, we are into urban organic farming, more specifically doing organic farming on rooftops of hundreds of houses in India using drip irrigation system. Can we apply for this challenge? Of course, you can apply for this challenge. If you look at it, if you go to the innovation website, one of the thematic areas is around this itself, that how and what ways effective irrigation methods can be implemented for youth, because if you look at it, most of our fresh water sources, almost 90% of our fresh water sources are used for agriculture. So how and what ways we can use that effectively so that our fresh water, I would say the overall agriculture based irrigation requirement, the efficiency increases in the system, so that our agriculture dependence on the fresh water reduces drastically. Is something which is an area we are looking at. Definitely you can participate. Next, we have a question related to, we are a service oriented startup. We have Kalpana Ramesh asking this question. The rainwater project working around lakes, super blocks to improve groundwater with shallow and deep aquifer management. Aquifer management is one of the thrust areas of the mission. Whether as part of the startup challenge or outside the startup challenge, aquifer management has been identified as one of the programs which we would want to take up. So very clearly, so Sam, if I would request if you can directly go to the thrust areas in the in the slide. Next one. Yeah, over here. So this one. So friends, if you look at it very clearly, these are the thrust areas very clearly, and aquifer management definitely is one of the areas. So Kalpana, I would request, do not wait for anything else. After this webinar, open the innovation portal and go and apply. Don't wait for the last date. Okay, moving to the next question that we have from Gaurav. Gaurav is asking, we are a world leader in UV LED based disinfection incorporated as startup in India, but our parent organization is from Canada. Are we eligible? So if you are a registered legal entity in India, you can participate. No one can stop you from doing that. Please go ahead and participate. Moving to the next question, Dilip, can a startup submit more than one innovation or product? Absolutely, Dilip. You can choose multiple categories. You can choose multiple options when you are submitting under various things. So this is something which was initial feedback that we got from the startups, that they wanted to apply for multiple categories, and that is where now the platform allows you to apply for multiple categories and submit multiple innovations. So
yeah, they can choose up to a maximum of 3 thematic areas in one form.
Okay,
Right,
Gaurav?
Amit? Yes. 3 thematic areas,
Yes, ma'am.
up to a maximum of 3 thematic areas in one application form.
Yes, there are 3 thematic areas around which we can submit. If
Yes.
there is, yes, are there any other questions that we have? This is something which is exciting, where people are asking this question, and
But we have a question from
definitely.
Mr. Satish. He's asking us to define the process for the selection criteria.
Again, come again.
The process of selection criteria.
Okay, the process of selection criteria. Can we move to the next slide? There you will be able to see it,
Sure.
where we had slightly tried to cover. Okay, so very clearly, if you look at it, the participants evaluation and selection stage, what we are saying is it would be a 2-stage selection process. The first stage selection process is where all the entries would be evaluated and shortlisted, and all those which will be shortlisted would be required to present their detailed solution and the portfolio to a panel of experts. These panel of experts would be looking into the various thematic areas, and once that is done, then they would be allowed to make their presentation to the grand jury. And post that grand jury, the results will be there, where all the startups will be shortlisted. The evaluation parameters basically would be the we would definitely publish that. There would be various criteria. However, at a very high level, it would be related to the overall what is the scalability of the solution, what is the effectiveness of the solution, what is the coverage that it is providing. So if you look at it from the challenge perspective, if you go to innovateindia.mygov.in, there you will see that where we have provided broad parameters around which the evaluation will happen. Now, Nagarjun Rao has put a question that if I am registered as sole proprietorship, can ours be considered as a startup? If you are registered with DPIIT, DPIIT allows for both all the 3 set of agencies to be registered: sole proprietorship, LLP, or private limited company. All 3 are allowed to be registered with the DPIIT. So I think if you are not registered, please register with the DPIIT and you will be allowed to participate. Can a startup submit more than one innovation? We have already answered. There is another question that we have.
Amit, can you take Miss Aditi's question? She's asking that her innovation, is in stages of startup revenue and execution, but the parent organization is older than 15 years old. So will they be considered?
The innovation is in the stages of startup revenue and execution wise, but the parent organization is older than. So definitely this will not qualify as a startup. Very clearly, Aditi. This will, but since this is a solution which you are saying, yes, there is something which is innovative and something, this will qualify under the second category. Please, I would urge you to read the mission guidelines, under which in the technology submission, innovative technology and innovative business solution is something which can be accepted and funded. So you need to look at that area if the organization is 15 years old. Now, there is a question that has come from ABBAS Lahiri, Abbas Lahiri. We are a startup setting up a factory near Chennai for manufacturing of non-ferrous valves. To save water, we manufacture smart water meters and provide solution to overhead tank level sensors. Most importantly, we will be the first company in India to manufacture lead-free valves. We don't need any support as far as finance is concerned, but there is no BIS standard which I'm looking for. Is this the right platform? I'm not very sure whether this is the right platform to help you with this, but definitely I can connect you with the BIS team which is looking into this standard. They can definitely help you. You can also connect with the Indian Plumbing Association. That's a premier body which actually looks into the standardization of products which are used in the plumbing line. You can speak to them and that will help you with the details.
Amit sir, I'd just like to make an announcement. Any participant who would like to raise their questions, firstly, I would request all of them to accept the panelist option that we are sending in. Please accept that so that you can ask your questions directly. Meanwhile, if there are any questions, you can also drop it in the Q&A session. And yes, thank you. Amit sir,
Okay.
over to you. I think in the
Okay,
interest
thank
of
you.
time, we could go as per the PPT and then take questions after the session so that I understand that you've already, it's a structured presentation. So some of the questions might already be answered once you're done with the PPT.
Yeah, sure. So let me just go through that. The factory question I have answered. Aditi's question was also answered. Rupali is asking question, what is the pre-qualification criteria for a startup? So pre-qualification criteria for a startup, very clearly, we have listed it on the Innovate India MyGov platform. You can go and check. Very clearly, it is a DPIIT registration that we are asking for. And that process is something which is defined. You can check it over here. Is the proprietary company accepted for the water challenge? Of course, it is accepted. You can participate over there. Then there is a question related to, we are a product-focused startup solving hygiene in toilets. Our products are bidets, touchless and non-touchless, which help in ease of usage of WCCs for aged people and kids. Of course, you are eligible. Go and participate, because if you look at the overall thematic areas, this is one of the thematic areas. Is the proprietary company accepted? Ravi Senji from Chennai, I'm 16 years old. What will be the expected quantum of funds expected from us in this grant program? For we are making just a few lakhs in the last few years, so any requirement of 10% will be tall climb for us. So I really don't know what is that you're talking about, Ravi Senji. What we are looking at is very clearly so the way it is that all those startups which are shortlisted, they will not get this money directly. They would be required to undertake a project with one of the selected cities, a city of their choice, where they actually want to go and implement this solution. And this money would be provided to you as a grant in aid in stages. It is not that in one go you will be provided this money. You will be required to go ahead and implement. And while you are implementing, there would be certain percentages, this money will be released 40, 40, 20 or 40, 20, 40, whatever the ministry decides. Right now, the idea is that money would be released in 3 tranches, 40%, 40% and 20%. So depending upon the overall approval that happens for you, money will be released. And in course of execution of that, if you are required to put some capital from your side, you would be required to put that. I hope I have answered your question related to this.
One more question from Mr. Satish. He's asking, at which stage does a startup need to sign a non-disclosure agreement, be it during the registration process or for application during the AMRUT challenge?
No. So when the project, I really don't know whether NDA would be required at this stage. However, you will not be required to sign an NDA with the ministry. You would be required to sign an NDA with the city with which you will execute the project. Moving to the next question.
Yeah. Sorry, Ravi here again from Chennai. I'm 60 years old. That's the only thing I wanted to drive home. For some people say you are above 40, you are not eligible and all this. That's the something which I wanted to make it very clear. Is there an age eligibility criteria there? And the reason I asked you this money.
I would say, sir, there's no age to start a startup.
Thank you for that. And some, like I had applied for something similar to this, where they wanted me to show in my bank account some 20% of the money upfront when they wanted to take me into the program. That's the reason I asked you, how much money should I have show or have in my kitty to be eligible to even apply for this program?
I think at this stage, there is no such requirement where you have to show something in your bank account.
Thank you.
Moving to the next question, we are partners for marketing of water purifiers for all freshwater, including borewell. Can we participate? I really don't know whether a marketing agency would be required to participate. We'll be going through DPIIT registration process. Yes, Janajal, safe waterfall. Thanks. Towards the end, I think Malini ma'am has answered few of the questions on our behalf, so we can save some time over here. I have done work as an individual and then recently started a company with no work done under its name. Can I participate? I think the work that you have done needs to be shown as part of your organization. However, if you have registered a company and the work has been executed by you as an individual, I would request, please participate, please submit your entry. that would definitely be evaluated. Because as far as I think, when I read this question, this individual is someone who is part of this company. So very clearly, if that innovative idea or innovative work needs to be processed through that company, please participate and please submit your entry.
There's
Now
a
we move to the
query
next
from
question.
Mr. Dilip. Dilip, go for it.
Yes, Dilip.
Yeah, hi.
Please go ahead.
You mentioned, sir, that this challenge is not for ideation stage products. But if we say that we are an innovation company, we have worked on it for 5 years, we have a prototype ready, which means proof of concept is done, but it is not piloted yet. In that case, are we eligible to apply for this product?
So if you're a 5-year-old organization, I will just have a question from you that in 5 years, what is that your organization has done?
Okay, so we are basically into multiple innovations. So, we have first innovation, which was awarded by Maharashtra state government, which we are deploying now. It got delayed for 2 years because of the lockdown. But we are simultaneously working on 5 other innovations to do with, especially to do with water. So that's the reason we say that we have other products which are ready with us. We have done our POCs, but we have not piloted them.
So very clearly, if I understand, I think this is a situation where the startup is at a growth stage. The product is not at a growth stage. The startup is at a growth stage. So very clearly, Dilip, you are free to apply because we are looking at a growth stage startups, not a growth stage product.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Moving to the next question, we have Sanjay Gupta. We are a partners for water purifiers for freshwater. Can we participate? I really don't know what to interpret from this. If this is something which you have an innovative solution and you are a registered entity, then you can participate. I hope this is clear.
Mr. Satish has raised his hand. I think he has a question.
Hi,
Mr. Satish.
hi everyone. So we are a startup, not on papers. We are actual startup on the ground level implementing the solution. So we did already have 200 customers onboarded, and we are serving them. So right now, my question is, can I quickly go for a DIIP registration, whatever it's been? So quickly go for it and then. Okay.
Please go for a DIIT registration and then apply for it.
Okay, so that's my question number 1. And question number 2, as part of selection criteria, we need to exhibit our solution in detail level. At what level should we present our solution, and what is that NDAs? I mean, what is the security that our information or our idea is being protected? How our idea would be protected? So that's my question.
So Satish, very clearly, there are 3 questions that you have asked. Let me take them one by one. So first of all, related to your DPIIT registration, you can register with DPIIT. DPIIT registration as a startup opens up a lot of avenues for you as a startup with respect to the central support as a Startup India program, which Government of India provides. So you can take up that registration. While that registration is in process, you can definitely nominate yourself for this challenge. So this answers to your question. While the application process is still under progress with DPIIT, you can still participate. That does not prohibit you from. As long as you have put in your application, is in process.
Amit.
Yes, ma'am.
But they will have to upload their DPIIT registration certificate on the platform.
So, ma'am, in certain cases, if the registration is still in progress, they can upload their application process, the status that is there.
So they can upload the status. Yes, that we wanted to clarify that they can upload the tentative status.
Yes. Satish, coming to the second question. Satish, coming to the second question that you had with respect to the requirement of NDA. So right now, very clearly, there is no NDA per se that is required, or from the either side. Neither we are expecting you to sign an NDA for us, nor we are signing any NDA with you. With respect to the third aspect that you had said, what is the guarantee of information confidentiality and something? Very clearly, Satish, you're dealing with Government of India. This is you would be submitting your application on Government of India platform, And this platform, on this platform, whatever you will be submitting, that would definitely will come to Government of India, and these are government officials who will evaluate that. So to that extent, yes, information will only be used for the purpose of this challenge, and thereafter it will not be used for any further purposes till the time you are shortlisted. If you are shortlisted, then definitely case studies and other things will be made, and that will be made available to the larger audience of how and what innovative work that you are doing, which is something which will be implemented at a pilot stage in the city of your choice, the city which you select. Or the city which selects you, because we would also provide you an opportunity to showcase your solution, your service, or your innovation to the set of cities. And based upon that, those cities can approach you and they will reach out to you for helping them in implementing that innovative idea. What we are trying to do is we are trying to provide a platform to the startups and short circuiting or removing the regular process of procurement. So this is where you are getting a first-hand choice of going ahead and implementing your solution by tying up with the city and implementing that solution at a ward level or at a larger level or at an entire city level, depending upon the kind of engagement that you sign up with the city. And in order to implement that thing, you will be provided that money that we have set aside as part of this challenge as a grant-in process, grant-in aid in various stages. So I think I hope I have been able to answer your question.
Perfect. Thanks for that. So one last bit of it is remained. So at what level detail I need to demonstrate? Should I go to chip level, chipset level to see what chips are we using, how the chips is been integrated?
We are not looking. We are not looking at an innovation at a chipset level. We are looking at an innovation of what functional outcome is being achieved out of that chipset. So we would be looking at more functional outcome.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the answers.
Now moving to the next part, I think we have the living greens. I beg your pardon if there is a repetitive question. I wanted to know precisely what will be the government looking for in a startup at the time of selecting the startup. Very clearly, your solution, it's the scale at which it has been implemented, what is the coverage of the population that it has provided, what is the kind of unique benefit that it has been able to achieve. All these are the kind of criteria that will be looked at. So very clearly, the living greens, my suggestion would be, please go and look at this portal, innovateindia.mygov.in. There you will see broad evaluation criteria as well. Now moving to the next question, I think we have Dileep and Gaurav both have raised their hand. Gaurav, please, why don't you go ahead with your question?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the question I wanted to raise is that the IPO of the product is with my parent company, which is a foreign company. We are producing the product here in India, but the product isn't currently supplied to any of Indian entity as such. It's being exported out, and so IP is still with our Canadian counterparts, foreign counterparts. So the product is in growth phase, you can say, but the IP hasn't been transferred to us, but can be transferred to us. So would we be eligible for it?
Yeah, please apply for it. Please apply for it. I think it will be evaluated by the set of experts and they will decide upon it. I think it would be too premature for me to comment on that. Yes, Devika, please go ahead.
A quick time check. We are at 4:35. In case you wanted to address any particular topics within your presentation, please go ahead.
So I think these questions are predominantly covering the areas which the kind of concerns or the kind of question that people might have. This is a specific. I would just want to cover one specific slide. Can we go from the slide perspective? Can we go to the next slide, please? Next one, please. Next one. Next one. Next one. This is one of the important slide. Previous. Yeah, this one. So very clear. This is, while we are talking about, yes, this is not one of the kind of startup challenge process where we are just selecting and from there we clap and we provide the seed money and then we move on. No, we are not looking at this. We are looking at our relationship beyond that. We are looking at technical partners. Partners in form of startups which will handhold our cities in adopting the innovative solution. We are looking at startups who will engage deeply with cities. And that is where what MoHUA will offer to the startup is, we will help you choose your operation ground. That is, we will provide you the right kind of market access. We will help you to connect with the cities. We will help you connect with the states. We will provide you the platform in terms of a virtual platform where you can provide your solution to all 4,800 urban local bodies to view. And based upon that, they can express their interest into your solution online. And this will be made available using the water platform where we will help you register your product. And this product in a various video forms and various other forms, it will be made available to all the cities. That's one. Second, we also plan to do a lot of physical events. In these physical events at a national level and at a state level, we would want these startups to come and showcase their solutions to the actual decision makers, the decision makers in terms of the engineers and the technical people from the city, and also the municipal corporation officers, so that they can identify that which solution fits the best according to the local problem that they have, and then they can engage directly with you to onboard you. So this is one thing that this is one unique thing which this program offers. The second thing that this program offers is that we have tied up with a lot of industry players. In the launch event, we had people from NASCOM, we had people from dedicated startup program that Cisco and Microsoft are running, and we had people from PhD chambers as well. These organizations run a dedicated incubator kind of a program and accelerator program for growth stage startups. So we actually we will help you to interface with them, which will help you to leverage the kind of services and the kind of opportunities that they provide using their platform, both in terms of technology and also in terms of the support that is required for you to scale up your operational processes. Also, we will help you to have a mentorship from the industry experts. These industry experts either will be large industry players who are part of these associations who have already been there, done that. They will help you to understand the nuances that you might be facing and how and what ways you can scale up. And the last but not the least, as I spoke about, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs will provide you your own dedicated place onto this water platform where you can engage with the people of this water ecosystem. So this is something which I wanted to talk about from the support that will be made available to the startups as part of this program. So this is something which I wanted to cover. Now I would again go back to the question and answer session where we have Aditi, Gaurav, and Dilip. These are the three questions these are the three hands that I see raised. Please go ahead, Dilip. We can start with you.
Yeah, hi. My question, Amit, is being an innovation startup, whenever we develop something, it takes years for us. But when especially if this product is meant for government use or for government authorities, then we face a big problem piloting those. So here my question is that suppose if we as an innovation company, as an innovator, we don't expect any financial help from you. All that we expect from the MoHUA ministry is that if I stay in Mumbai and if I want to pilot my new technology in any of the lakes or any of the dams near Mumbai, then the authorities here are not going to entertain me. And if I go through them, it takes a long time. They don't even reply to emails, to be very honest with you. Suppose if we approach the ministry and we submit our prototype videos, online basis, a part of this challenge, I'm not talking of this challenge, the ministry can look at the innovation that we have done. And if the ministry feels, yes, this should be piloted at the earliest, then ministry can give us a recommendation letter to the BMC, for example. And then when we approach BMC, the whole tone changes because there is a letter come from the ministry and they are asking to pilot this. So this is the support we are looking for. If the ministry can do this, this will help us get through this roadblock of local authorities and it will help us accelerate.
So, Dilip, if you look at the slide which is available, which will be available on your screen, the first piece is something where we are talking about choosing operation ground. We plan to run a connect program with the states and urban local bodies to showcase your solution. Definitely, both physical and virtual events is something which is in pipeline, in which we will request the state authorities and the city authorities to come and look at what Dilip has to offer to them. And then depending upon the interest that is there, they can move forward on that. So that definitely we understand that that is one of the areas of concern which we would want to bridge that gap.
Great. I think, yeah, that will help us. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Moving to Aditi. Aditi, can you go ahead with your question, please?
Good evening. I just want to add on to what Dilip ji was just saying, and coming to the question that I had earlier also, put forward for you. So we are a company which, an organization which has been operational for more than 15 years. So definitely we do not qualify as the startup that is required for this challenge. But as Dilip ji had rightly pointed out, so our innovation is fairly new. It's like 5 or 6 years old, and we've been working with various government bodies, ULBs, etc. But definitely, the reason why we chose to go ahead with the parent organization was because of the existing credentials. And as Dilip ji has rightly pointed out, it is very difficult to work with these ULBs and to work with various government bodies to make them accept, an innovation, and for them to even go ahead and pilot with us, which is why, we chose to go ahead with our parent organization, which had certain credentials to its name. Going through the slide that you just showed us, I mean, it looks like a fantastic opportunity for an innovation like ours, wherein we are at a growth stage where we are working with certain ULBs and certain government bodies, where we have certain projects in our kitty. But definitely, exposing our solution to such a wide audience is something that I don't think we would get even if we apply for the AMRUT technological grant that you were mentioning. I was going through the guidelines. This kind of platform I don't think would be available, because we will have to work separately with various agencies and go in the tendering process and then go ahead with the projects. So I just wanted to understand that for an organization with this kind of a peculiar predicament, how can you help us in that?
So Aditi, very clearly, I do understand the situation that you are, and this is something which is, as we always say, that in government, we have to innovate procurement to procure innovation. So innovation is required in procurement for the procurement of innovation. So that is one of the challenge which our startups do face, and of course government has got its own laid procedures. There are checks and balances that have been built into the system to address the various kind of I would say process requirements. So definitely
Amit, can I also respond? So if you have something interesting, feel free to reach out to the team. We will find a suitable city or a state where you will be invited for piloting. Don't worry about it. But as far as this challenge is concerned, it's a slightly different focus area. But if you have some matured product and it's an innovative solution, feel free to reach out to us. We will find a solution. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So that is what I also wanted to add over here. If you have anything specific, I would suggest you have credentials over here. We would want to interface you with one of the city or maybe one of the state. And at the same time, we would also interface you with one of the, maybe a central panel, the panel which is looking into it. We would want to give you a chance where you can come and showcase your solution. And depending upon that, under the technology submission itself, we would help you to connect with one of the cities or one of the state.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think I'll connect later with one of the team members to understand how to, put forward our credentials to your team. And then we can see how that goes forward.
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions from here? Otherwise, I can move on. Yeah.
That will be also fine. Thank you.
Amit, we have a few more questions which we had mapped from the innovators when they were registering. So I just put up the slide. If you could just answer those.
Okay, Sam, go ahead.
So some of the questions, Amit sir, you have very well explained throughout the last 45 minutes. But there are one or two that I think you could use your insights on. So there is a question on question number 3. Without DPIIT or without GST, can we participate?
Devika, let us follow the same process which you had followed.
Okay.
We will go through each and every question,
Sure.
and so that even if we are repeating, there would be certain people who might have joined late, so we'll repeat this.
Works.
Qualification criteria for participating in this challenge, very clearly, I would request everyone to go and visit innovate.mygov platform. On that, very clearly, you will see the qualification criteria. Our qualification criteria are pretty simple. You need to be registered as a startup with DPIIT. And then, of course, you should not be 10-year-old, more than 10-year-old organization. And of course, your overall turnover should be less than 100 crore. These are the 3 set of main criteria around which we are looking at. And of course, we are looking at you as an innovator working in the area of water. So if you are working in water, that is also a very basic criteria. Moving to the second part, what is the definition of a startup? Very clear. It is now explained to everyone. Without DPIIT or without GST, can we participate? The answer is very clear. You would be required to register with DPIIT. We are looking at organizations with whom ministry can have a formal engagement. So for that, it is very important that you are a legal entity. Is it chargeable? How can this challenge help me to promote my business? So we are not looking at you to promote your business. We are looking at to promote your innovation. And of course, if your innovation is worthy enough, your business will definitely grow. It is not chargeable. It is free of cost. Please come and participate, put up your solution, put up the necessary credentials that are associated with it, whatever collaterals that you have in terms of your brochure, in terms of your video, any supporting document that you have in terms of media coverage, please upload those documents as part of the startup challenge. We will have a look at it. That will be evaluated by the expert committees. Whatever based upon the evaluation criteria, the solutions will be shortlisted. All those which will be shortlisted will move to the second round, where they will be required to do a detailed demonstration of their solution. And based upon that, they will be required to make a presentation to the evaluation committees. Based upon that, all those which will be shortlisted, they will go to the next round, where it will be a grand jury, where you will be required to come physically, make a presentation to the grand jury, and all those who get shortlisted will get an opportunity to move forward with this evaluation criteria. I have successfully completed the pilot project in Guntur city, but I didn't register my startup yet. Can I participate? Definitely you can participate. Please go and register onto DPIIT, and whatever progress that you get in terms of the state, I would say status, use that and register and submit your entry over here. We would be more than good. How to apply for registration for startup? Of course, that is something which is very self-explanatory on the Startup India platform. It is very clear, and I think Sayan will also would cover that as part of the last part of this presentation. We have 3 different innovations for water rejuvenation of urban water bodies. Can a startup apply for more than one product? Yes, more than 3 categories you can apply. Can we move to the next screen, please? Theme. How are we a sanitation startup relevant in water challenge? Sanitation startup is something which is very important, which helps us in taking care of the used water. Used water is something which is a sanitation startup can look into, because you are contributing to that. You can apply it in that theme. We are an urban organic farming company. Would like to know under which category. Of course, there's an agriculture piece where you can participate. Electrochemical based biomedical liquid treatment system can participate under which category? There is a technology category for used water. There is a technology category for drinking water. And then there is a separate technology category. You can participate in any of those. Can you elaborate on the eligibility of novel product based wet sanitation startups? Of course, you can. That is eligibility criteria. There's a technical eligibility criteria, and there is a operational eligibility. Operational eligibility is where you need to be registered with DPIIT, not older than 10 years, and then of course turnover of less than 100 crore. As far as the technical eligibility, this product would qualify under the used water category. Under used water category, you can participate. San, are there any more questions that we have?
Oh, this was the last.
If there aren't any more questions, I think we can move towards the DPIT registration process that Shayan has put through. I don't find any in the chat box. Right. Amit sir, thank you so much. The last 45 to 50 minutes, you've answered so many questions, so thank you. We'll move to this quick presentation on DPIIT.
Just one small point which I want to make.
Sure.
Friends, do not wait for the last moment. I would suggest please go and participate and register. Take benefit of doubt if you have any specific question. If you have any confusion, upload as many documents as you want which you think are relevant to make your case stronger. Whenever in doubt, take the benefit of doubt and upload an additional document. But don't hesitate in saying in uploading a document that what will this document support. If you think that this document is something worthy enough to support your candidature, please go and upload that document.
So in regards to the DPIT registration project, it's very lucid and very simple. If you could just go to the innovate.mygov website, you'll find the registration process laid out there. And as well as in the Startup India website, you'll find that the list of documents which are required and the process which needs to be followed is very clearly mentioned. So quickly, I'll just go through it. Yeah, quickly, I'll just go through this here. So what makes a startup? So to be defined as a startup in India, obviously it needs to be a limited liability partnership on the privately limited company. The company needs to be operational for not more than 10 years. And the reason for application for the DPIIT registration is the opportunity and scope to get tax exemptions. There are 3 or 4 different clauses under that, which are covered by the tax exemptions. And companies also recognize as a startup when it is not having more than ₹100 crore revenue in any one of the years since it's being operational. And the firm should also be funded by an incubation fund, which is recognized by DPIIT or Government of India. And it should register for a patent for the innovation that it has come up with. And also the funding related details must be registered with SEBI. Now, moving on to the portal, the first thing that you need to do is basically sign in through your email ID and password. You can use the digital app as well. If you have already have the sign in and login credentials for that can be applicable for here. And yeah, so the details which are asked are pretty simple: nature of entity, industry, the sector in which you belong in, and the categories under which your startup falls under. You'll also need to include your CIN number, which you'll get when you applied for your private entity registration. And moving on to the next one, you need the full address proof of where your company is based out of. Then, so this is a key detail which needs to be sent in, which is the authorized representative details. So you need someone from the government or someone from the startup, from the incubator that you have been supported by, to write you an authorization or a recommendation letter, which needs to be updated on the portal as well. And details regarding partnership and who your other team members are. So yeah, details regarding the funding and the intellectual property, like for what we have applied for, that needs to be uploaded as well. And the startup, primarily the space within which the startup is active, the details regarding that needs to be updated as well. And finally, there is a self-certification which needs to happen. As you can see on the screenshot, you'll be able to see that there are 4 points which are being covered. So a self-certification regarding that needs to be updated as well. That is pretty much it. And normally the time it takes from after the submission of the documents on the portal is somewhere between a week to 2 weeks to receive the certification. But depending on the validity of the document that you are submitting, the time might increase a little bit more. But as was mentioned by Amit sir, even though it is a criteria, the status regarding the DPIIT's startup, your application can be updated onto the AMRUT registration portal as well. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Yes, thank you, Shine. So as Charlie sir suggested, we'll be sharing all the PPTs that were discussed today with all of you post the webinar. And considering there are no further questions, I would like, I think we are at the 5 o'clock mark. The last 1 hour just sped through with all of the questions that you are relevant and important questions that all of you had. So I would take this opportunity, first of all, to thank Amit sir, who very patiently answered each and every question. Even if they were repetitive, he took the time, and thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank Reema ma'am for joining us and sharing her insights as well. Chari sir, yes.
So if there are any queries or if they have any other things, feel free to ask. I know for 5 o'clock is a cutoff time, but if there are any other things, please feel free to raise it right now. Or you can write to them, write to us, but the idea is that each one of you should participate. As Mr. Amit said, if there are some gaps, do not hesitate to reach out to him, reach out to us. But, it's important that all of you participate in large numbers so that your initiative gets recognized at the national level. And very importantly, cities benefit from your initiatives. That's the whole purpose. So if there are any last queries, feel free. Otherwise, Devika, are we winding up?
Yes, sir. There seems to be one question from Jananjal. You can please go ahead and ask a question. Yes. Over to you.
Afterwards, I need a picture. So remove this, Sayan, remove this. Yeah. So get some of cameras on and take a picture.
Requesting all of you to keep your videos on.
Each one of you should join the initiative. So that's why we are taking evidence.
I have a question.
Get your cameras on, each one of you. Thank you very much.
Sir, hi. I have a question, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Amit and others. So, Sayan just in the presentation regarding the registration, he said we need to get an authorization letter from if we are incubated somewhere, right? What if we are a startup that is not incubated? How do we find a mentor figure to get a representation letter?
So there's a list of other documents which can act as proxy for that as well. So it's available on the DPIIT site. So the list of documents which you can submit. Yeah. Probably I can send it over to you after the webinar.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
This the PPT that you shared, Sayan, a couple of minutes earlier that we were seeing.
Sure.
This is that Startup India, right?
Sorry, I couldn't get you.
The PPT or the screenshots that you shared earlier. From the website startupindia.
Yeah, this is
anyway, we will share with all of this with all of you so that it acts like a reference document for you. But feel free to reach out to the website.
Is at dpiit.gov.in?
Sir, you
startupindia.gov.in.
Startupindia.gov.in.
Devika, would you like to take a picture?
Yes, sir, on it. So I request all of you to please keep your videos on for the next 1 minute. I'm currently on the first page of our, so whoever's on slide number 1, please smile.
Devika, it doesn't work like that. Just keep clicking. So people are in different.
There are just slow, yes.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you all.
So Rimaji and Mr. Amit, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for organizing this. I think this will help startups a lot and they will participate in large numbers. And we need to disseminate the message much wider, sir.
Thank you. That's the whole idea.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Amit sir. Thank you, Reema ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.